Welcome back to the Starcraft 2 World Championship Series, Europe Premier League. We are in the round of 16 on day 2 of 4. It's Group B action tonight. And before we get into our next matchup, I thought it was worth checking back in with all 4 players in this group, just to remind you of who we've got. So let's take a look at Group B in its entirety right now. You can see on your screen, we've got Vortex from Spain. He's already gone down 2-0. You heard earlier, Empire Cast predicted that one. He was pretty much the only person on Twitter that did that. I don't know how many in the crowd might have predicted it either. BabyKnight's also in the group. He's next up, Mr. John Anderson. He's having a bit of a mixed season, frankly. He's had a fantastic round of 32 wins against Grubby and Stefano, but his dream hack wasn't perhaps as good as he would have liked it to have been. And then we have the new crowned man of the North, or King of the North, is NaNiwa, who finished second at DreamHack recently and had a fantastic run through before losing to Lennox. And finally, the man who's already 2-0 up this evening, Mr. Happy from Russia. I probably shouldn't call him Mr. Happy, because sometimes he's not happy. And sometimes, yeah, hey, I've got to get a few of the puns in. Apollo's been stealing them. Anyway, we will get underway with our next game now. Happy is the man waiting in the winner's final. Will it be BabyKnight or will it be NaNiwa? It's the Battle of the Scandies, and it's going to be taken through with you by Apollo and Kalaris.
Thanks very much, Paul. And this one is going to be pretty good. The king in the north, the lone wolf, moving south himself, trying to take out the rest of Europe.
Right, yes, he is. Never heard Scandies before. It's not a word I've heard before to describe 2 Scandinavians.
We're both English, listening to an English person.
Yeah, so Paul, you have to teach us something of your masterful. But yeah, moving on to these 2 players. A great setup here. And I think it's just so perfect that this is WCS, the Europe Premier League, because BabyKnight made his name in WCS last year. Like, he made his name, and through the Denmark Nationals over to the Nordic Nationals, or at the Nordic Nationals, I should say, into the Europe, even into the actual BattleNet World Championship 2. And he carried his success over to international tournaments. He played at MLGs, and I think they played each other at an MLG as well.
They did. They did, actually. They played each other during MLG Dallas, and it ended up being a 2-0 for NaNiwa during that PvP. But as you can see here, we do have the map vetoes on the way. So NaNiwa looking to take that first veto here. What is he going to go for? In PvP, it's a little bit of a mixed beast. Maps not necessarily as popular in terms of map vetoes because Blink players become a little bit less likely nowadays. And NaNiwa taking away Whirlwind to kick things off.
All right, getting rid of Whirlwind. Remember the 2 stars of these players. BabyKnight loves Stargate play. That's something that we saw, you know, vividly in the round of 32 when he was able to beat out Grubby. And I think every single game of all 3, he opened up Stargate. Whether Grubby scouted it or not, it was like BabyKnight was like, this is how I'm playing. So NaNiwa is a player that likes to prepare for people too. Has his own build orders. I'm not too sure what to expect from NaNiwa today. If it's going to be simple gateway pressure, if it's going to be tech choices of his own here. But these maps, as you mentioned, are going to really show us what they don't want to play on, depending on what they want to do.
And with Newkirk Precinct being removed by BabyKnight, it's like, well, I don't want you to be going for some kind of crazy Oracle positioning or something like that. It can work quite nicely on that map. Daybreak being vetoed for NaNiwa, and then Neo Planet S disappearing there for BabyKnight.
So Star Station, Belshir, Vestige, and Aklon are the 3 maps that we're going to be playing on. Seeing these maps quite a lot, actually.
Yeah,
in
Aklon
the
and Belshir,
rotations of
Vestige
things.
Doing well.
All right, there's the handshake on screen, and these 2 players are going to face off here in the best of 3 of our second game of the day. Remember, the winner moves on to play against Happy. Very excited for this run here. I mean, we could talk a little bit about BabyKnight since he's the one on screen. His run in the round of 32 is remarkable.
Yes. It really, really was. During that, he took out 2 arguable legends here in the European scene in the form of Stefano and Grubby. Now, he comes into the round of 16, facing off against another legend of the European scene here in terms of results, in terms of performances, arguably the strongest foreigner.
If BabyKnight was to able to beat these 3 players, you know, looking at Grubby, Stefano, and then into NaNiwa, who would argue that BabyKnight shouldn't win the entire tournament? Like, who would actually say, no, I don't think he deserves it?
No,
like, if he got to the finals and won it, that's like a remarkable, incredible run from BabyKnight.
Taking those two players out at round 32, and then moving on to NaNiwa here, that is a huge testament to his skill if he's able to take out these 3 in a row. Never mind just like randomly across the tournament. In a row, guys.
And if you look at BabyKnight, exactly 1 year ago, who was he? Not that big.
Nope.
But nowadays, because of WCS last year, he created his name. We mentioned he took it abroad and created his popularity elsewhere too. Today, though, he has the chance to prove that he is one of the best Protoss players in Europe, if not in a larger scale too. Being able to take down Grubby, Stefano, and then NaNiwa, that is absolutely incredible. I cannot describe how big that is for BabyKnight. On the other hand, though, NaNiwa, if you look at NaNiwa, this group feels like it's NaNiwa against the world.
Yes.
Because everyone wants to beat this guy, because NaNiwa was second place at DreamHack. He's always been one of the best non-Korean players in the scene. But BabyKnight, if he was to stifle that...
Yeah, you're right. Anybody who can take a series off NaNiwa here has that kind of that tag on their pelt here. And with that, it gives you a lot of credibility here, moving on into the further rounds. So BabyKnight's going to go up against that, but NaNiwa, you cannot count him out ever. His builds, his builds are his own, his play style is his own. Every single aspect that he can use in terms of those plays, so strong, and BabyKnight's going to have a hard time ahead of him.
Yeah, and joining the Navi recently as well, BabyKnight, as you can see in his nice big yellow jacket. Looks very warm and comfortable, actually. Actually, one thing I noticed there, look at BabyKnight's mouse, is he doesn't have that bungee thing we talked about yesterday with the Koreans and the non-Koreans. He's actually just got it plugged in.
BabyKnight, where's your bungee? Don't know if you can hear him or not. I guess not. He's concentrating. He's going into a custom game for a second whilst
this is
getting back.
Big day for BabyKnight.
It is.
He didn't land in this position today in such an easy way. He fought to be here. And now he's got the chance to prove who he really is. NaNiwa has stepped aside, which is why we're just waiting for him to come back in a NaNiwa style here before we get into this best of 3. As he is about to make his return now, so we can see. And NaNiwa versus BabyKnight will start.
Yep, so that is going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to this PvP here as our second game of the night in Group B. And any of these players actually advancing forward knows their opponent. He does have a mouse bungee. Look.
Oh, he does at the back. God damn it, it was hidden. He does have one. It was hidden away. And both of the players do, actually.
Yep.
As this war of the Protoss will start momentarily. Don't know which way I'd swing it, though. I mean, looking at, I think everybody's predictions in the round of 32, they were like, BabyKnight, yeah, about that. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Grubby and Stefano.
Kind of tough.
But coming into predictions today, it's one of the... I don't think it's the hardest group when it comes to skill-wise and player-wise, but it's absolutely one of the closest groups.
Yeah.
It really is.
It really is. This group could have gone any way. It's a group of uncertainty. It's a group of volatility. There are a lot of ways to describe this group. Anybody can advance here. And these two Protoss, they're looking to move on to just have that one last series against Happy. And both of them have pretty good PvT. They're not necessarily both known for that specific matchup. They have their strengths lying elsewhere, but still, Happy's going to be careful here when going up against either of these.
Usually I'd say that the pressure of the series would go to the opponent favored, which would be still, in my opinion, NaNiwa here.
Yeah.
But because of the results from BabyKnight, I think that the pressure's starting to even out a little bit here. Because in one way, yes, NaNiwa is slightly favored, if not more so favored over BabyKnight. But because of BabyKnight's results, he's got a lot of eyes on him today. Starcraft fans, non-Starcraft fans, Navi as well, watching how he performs here at WCS. And remember, if you advance through to this game and able to beat Happy and move on another level, you're guaranteed to stay in Premier League. You're able to stay here on these stages, play, week in, week out, whenever the games are scheduled. But if you lose here today, which could happen to one of these two players, NaNiwa or BabyKnight, you're going down to Challenger League.
It's not a position you want to be in at all. The money ramps up very, very nicely here now in Premier League, whereas going down to Challenger League, it's nowhere near as prestigious in terms of the prize pool. And basically, you're playing Challenger League to get into Premier. You want to stay here. Neither NaNiwa nor BabyKnight want to fall down, and I mean, if you look at the group in its entirety, we already said it was a group of, you know, uncertainty, volatility, anybody can move on, but arguably, because of what these two have accomplished, they're the two favorites here, and they have to face off against one another in the first game.
That's right. Both players banked $2,000. You mean, talked about the money a little bit through the WCS here. Banked $2,000 just for being in the round of 16. It does start to climb up, though, up to $3,500, and then escalates incredibly high if you get top 4 and manage to qualify for the semifinals. As you can see on screen, BabyKnight seems to be having a little bit of an issue with his earplugs ready for sound. I think what I could see before is the socket that he was meant to plug it in was a little bit too far away, and it was stretching almost where he couldn't wear them. But it looks like he's resolved that, and we will be starting in a couple of seconds here. Left hand versus right hand.
Yep, he does.
Tattoo versus non-tattoo.
That's true.
Jacket versus non-jacket. And long hair versus short hair.
I like me some long hair, man. I like me some long hair. And the interesting thing, actually, is if NaNiwa actually advances on, if NaNiwa defeats BabyKnight, then, I hate to do this, but we have the Alliance versus the Empire, Apollo.
Oh, Colaris. You got that one out there. It's like NaNiwa forgot to shave today. It's no problem, though. It's not an issue when it comes to playing. As, that's a mean stare. We actually talked about it off camera a little bit. NaNiwa's just, the way that he looks is scary. Like, just the way that he stares, his, you know, aura surrounding him is so dark and dangerous.
Not quite the Alliance.
Not quite the Alliance.
No.
Not quite. But he is, isn't he? And then you have this beautiful guy wearing an amazing jumper, really brings out his eyes and that yellow sweater. Look at that handsome face.
A beacon of light.
A beacon of light. And there is a contrast between them, isn't there?
There is. It is light versus dark here. NaNiwa representing, I would say the Sith, but it just goes against everything he is named behind.
Yes.
And with this, you know, BabyKnight, he's a pretty mannered bear, gotta say.
He is an incredibly nice individual, that is for sure. And it looks like both the players, well, actually, I say both. NaNiwa is ready. BabyKnight is also ready, which means one thing. The admin press is going. We're going to start this best of 3, Colaris. It's the second game of the day. Quite excited for this one. Denmark versus Sweden. A big rivalry there within Scandinavia. All those countries like to fight it out. With whatever game it is. If it's Starcraft, ice hockey.
That's true.
Whatever ice games they play.
I lived in Finland for a long time. I know all about this. All right, so let's jump straight on into game number 1. Belshir Vestige will be our map here between NaNiwa and the Alliance in the form of NaNiwa versus BabyKnight. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner here as our red Protoss, arguably the strongest foreigner in the world right now. Give it up for Alliance NaNiwa. Second recently at DreamHack Open Stockholm, only falling to Linok in the very final. He's looking to move on forwards here for his name, for the prestige that he carries with that name. And spawning up to the top left as our blue Protoss, making rather splash himself. He goes by the name of Navi BabyKnight. First in WCS Denmark.
Yeah, look at that run. That's such an impressive run from you can almost say nothing in terms of results to a big finish, 9th to 16th place there at the World Championship, continued through from there. And today is the big day for BabyKnight. If he's able to get all 3 kills, Grubby, Stefano, and NaNiwa in a row, he's going to be absolutely over the moon, and it makes his run for the rest of the tournament so much easier. He's killed all the strong players in Europe.
It really does. It's a big thing for BabyKnight now to actually attain. If he can do it, he is plain sailing from this point on. Although there's going to be many more trials down the road that he will have to overcome. So, Gateway on the way for both players. Gas is at a very, very similar time. BabyKnight's a little bit ahead here, so not too much deviation to kick things off.
Yeah, the one difference to a lot of Protoss versus Protoss depends on the style of the player themselves. You can take a Gas at 14, which it was in this game. It was 13 Gateway, 14 Gas. Or you can wait a little bit to 15, 16, and then take 2 Gases at once. Players like Sase like to go ahead and put 2 probes in each and play it out a little bit differently, but in this game they're going Gateway, Cybercore, and then the second gas. Interested to see if we're going to see the skipping of the Zealot, which is a common thing nowadays, to get your tech out a little bit earlier. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. And already you can see a bit of difference between them. NaNiwa not opting to get that, and instead a second gateway.
So you can go up to those 3 Stalkers pretty darn quickly here. BabyKnight playing arguably a little more defensively, getting that Zealot out early on. I wouldn't be surprised if he followed it up with a Sentry and then into Stargate from that point on. It's a build that he was favoring quite heavily during the previous round against Mr. Grubby, and we'll see in just a sec.
Yeah, and there's the Sentry, as you say. So, depending on how he wants to play this out, if it's going to be a Mothership Core or Tech next, that's the 2 choices BabyKnight has to make as his gas starts to climb up. NaNiwa, though, with 2 gateways, is going to hide what he's doing for the majority of this game. 2 gateway builds are quite maskful, I think, because you don't show what you're doing. You can either throw down tech immediately behind this or move on forward. And we talked about player tendencies a little bit earlier. Throughout the round of 32 against Grubby, every single game Stargate.
Yeah.
Not this time.
No, he's going for that very, very quick Twilight Council here, as is NaNiwa, but this is out of the ordinary for BabyKnight right now. In Wings of Liberty, he was the blink guy. He was the guy that every single PvP, he was like blink, 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 but not necessarily here in Heart of the Swarm. And I mean, he could even go for the Dark Shrine as well, but no, it's going to be that blink.
Yeah, 150 gas. Perfectly well timed here. Yeah. Great build from BabyKnight straight over to blink. The one thing, the difference between the 2 players, yes, NaNiwa's got later tech, but he's got an earlier Mothership Core. And in this part of the game, it's a little bit dangerous to do this, to move out like NaNiwa's doing, but the benefit is he's going to be able to poke in. It depends on if the Mothership Core gets scouted or not, but he's going to see blink being researched, which gives him a massive heads up compared to BabyKnight. There he actually goes in, sees blink, and now gets out. This is sometimes dangerous because if the player is being aggressive with 3 gateways, for example, that Mothership Core a lot of the time isn't going to make its way home, but in this case it's actually fine. NaNiwa's going to get out, see what his opponent's doing, and I'd be interested to see what happens here. NaNiwa's got a couple of choices: defend, aggressive.
I think that, well, with these pylons being set up, it might be that aggressive route here, as we have those extra gateways on the way for BabyKnight, as well as NaNiwa just getting that ramped up and good to go in terms of that production. 3 gates each, and with that can fuel a lot of Stalkers. But Blink versus Blink micro in Protoss versus Protoss is some of the most strenuous micro that you can actually go into in all of StarCraft. It is so hard to actually get those trades off, and this is going to be a real test here.
And NaNiwa will naturally need to play the defensive player because his blink was late. He went in there and knew that it was later because he got the Mothership Core, so he's going to sit back. He did manage to squeeze out a pylon in the middle of the map, though, just, well, on the other side of the map. That's going to be used to either counterattack and turn the aggression over, or use it to warp in Zealots to actually counter in terms of just simple maneuvers to get into the mineral line here. NaNiwa with the Robo coming down, he's looking to set up a good defense and then go over to Immortals really easily, really fast to solidify basically what he has, but he has to be so careful. He has less Stalkers, he has no blink.
And he does blink one of those Stalkers back, so BabyKnight saves that for now. But BabyKnight cannot take that engagement just yet. He loses a Zealot. His Stalkers were basically not all together. At the same time, whoa, an aggressive blink forwards here by NaNiwa. He's trying to move all those Stalkers, getting this round, so defensive blinks are not going to matter as much. And NaNiwa doing a great job here thus far. It's so close, though. It looks like NaNiwa is just barely going to eke out a little bit of a lead there due to that micro, due to the choices he's taken. He doesn't save his Mothership Core in the end of the reinforcements for BabyKnight. Come along once again, trying to push NaNiwa back. He may have overextended.
Yeah, 3 Stalkers went to join BabyKnight's army, but the other 3 Stalkers and NaNiwa, identical accounts, actually went to kill the pylon in the bottom left there. NaNiwa lost a bit there, even though he was very assertive with his decision-making. He said, I killed a Zealot, killed a Sentry, go, and jumped right in there, because he knew Guardian Shield wasn't there, the Zealot wasn't going to be there, and he had a little lead, but he lost it. But he does have an Immortal on the way, but he's going to lose stuff before that gets there. He may even lose the entire game if the Immortal goes down.
He may do. That pylon is very, very important. Needs to stay alive, and it is going to, thanks to the Stalkers actually keeping it alive, along with that reinforcement, but the Immortal pops out at exactly the wrong position, goes down instantaneously. NaNiwa has to pull probes off the line once again here to try and deal with this, and the Stalkers keeping their lives back during all of this, but he did lose a lot of workers. 8 went down, and even these Zealots here for NaNiwa trying to even things up.
Yeah, he got 4 probe kills, and that's really big for these Zealots, and the more are going down, and that's the use of that pylon to counterattack on the back foot. So great maneuver here from NaNiwa, who absolutely was falling behind, and look at that, 8 probe kills from those 2 Zealots, 3 Stalkers getting warped in at the back, identical unit counts in terms of won and lost there, but in terms of units lost exactly, there was a single Stalker, I think, in favor of BabyKnight, was the difference between 2 of them.
Yeah.
Or
Pokes
the
out a little
mothership
bit.
core, sorry.
Yeah, will now try and move back here. And will save himself the Stalkers. So BabyKnight right now, 47 supply to the 44, and just changed a little bit. 2 of that is in probes, and actually he has a 6 Stalker advantage right now. NaNiwa dicing with death, but...
He's got a force field, okay, good, because as you said, he has 6 Stalkers less. And that's quite big here. It's 8 supply difference. Another sentry coming in to keep those force fields down. And then I think he's going to try and squeeze in an Immortal. One more Zealot's being warped in, which is going to be from that pylon again. Oh, what a great maneuver!
Oh, he uses the offensive blink with one of those Blink Stalkers blinking up onto the high ground here. The probe's trying to come off the line to deal with this, but they weren't necessarily in the best position anyway to keep this going. Defensive blinks from BabyKnight as well, bringing those Stalkers down to the low ground as they do get weak. A great play by him. He has 14 Stalkers to 5 right now.
You have to be so careful. That one Stalker just allowed the rest to jump up, and here's going to be... Oh, I thought he was going to go for the rest there.
I thought it was as well.
Well, I don't know. I guess he could have, but he decided against it there. As 13 to 4, NaNiwa down to 19 probes. BabyKnight is doing the unthinkable. Grubby Stefano now leading game number 1 against NaNiwa. This is incredible. And he's going to jump for the win any second now. He's just going to wait for a couple more warp-ins. And then I think he's going to go... NaNiwa has to keep the force fields down, which he's doing because he knows one Stalker and then the rest of them can come in. BabyKnight is looking on fire.
He really is. NaNiwa at this point, he's maybe an Immortal or something like that, but he really doesn't have the gas